Morning, everyone. N1CLB in the shack. I had a amateur radio operator from Canada call me last night at my house, asking me about the QYT KT7900D radio that I made a video of 2 years ago. I did a review of it because I had purchased a couple and things like that. From this point on, I'll call it the QYT. That way I don't have to ramble the numbers and stagger all over them. He asked me very specific questions like, does it go down to 219 megahertz or go into other bands, to which I could not answer the question because I had not tested that portion of it. I did not test how far it transmitted or received, and I was not able to answer his question. So I wound up coming down here today, this morning. It's 10 o'clock in the morning right now, 10:10 in the morning. Came down, fired up my radios and my power supplies and my antennas and all that, got everything on, turned on. I got black stuff on my finger, probably from the radio. Pulled out one of the QYTs from the stack or the couple that I had back here. Plugged it in, hooked it up to my antenna, my VHF antenna, my 2-meter, just to see if it would work. I put it on the 220 repeater that's near my house, about 7 miles away. That's near to my house. Then I went and I tried the repeater. It hit it perfectly fine, full quieting. I could hear it, no problems. Then I went and put in 219 500 just to see if it would work. And lo and behold, it did. It was able to transmit down there, no problem. And I couldn't hit any repeaters because there's no 219s around here. But other than that, the radio was working great. He asked me how it is as far as like a mobile or setting it up and everything. And I told him it's okay. You can only listen to one of the 4 displayed things at a time. If something else comes up, you can hear basically, let's say if you have a 2-meter frequency, a 220 frequency, a 440, and a GMRS frequency. The 220, someone keys up a repeater on that, and then like 2 minutes later they're still talking and someone on 2 meters keys up, you won't hear it. It only hears one thing at a time. It doesn't have multiple received, unfortunately. It would be great, but due to its compact size, I'm pretty sure they couldn't have been able to do that. I also told them about the scanning feature, that it doesn't work all that well. You could have a radio transmitting right on top of it, it wouldn't hear it. It has a real problem with that. So I told him about that too. And he was okay with it because he said that his 2 sons just passed the Canadian version of the technician exam, and he was looking to buy radios for his family. Well, that was, I told him they would be good radios if you're not, how can I say, like extreme quality sensitive. I also told him about I thought it didn't have a fan on the back, but it does, and it pulls the air through. From where, I don't know, there's no entry point for the fan. Basically, the air is being pulled from the inside of the radio with nothing there. There's no way for the air to get into the radio for the fan to pull it out. So basically it's just going around the fan and just getting sucked back out. I went and I looked. I was testing it. I tested it. It goes down. I remember testing. Now I remember testing it. It goes down as low as I think 420, 410. As high as 480, 490 even. Maybe even 512. I don't know. But I do remember testing 220. I do remember testing 2 meters, see how far it goes. And it goes up into MERS also, and that's straight from the factory, not modified in any way. Straight, literally straight out of the box. You go in, boom, boom, boom. You can adjust everything. You can go into the radio menus, set it up, and go from there. Put all the repeaters you want in. I think there's like 99 memories, maybe 60. I don't know. I haven't read the manual yet, but it's a durable, tough little radio. But you got to have it very well ventilated. Do not put it right in front of a heat source or above a heat source, because it will heat up. It does heat up, and it will get warm to the touch, not necessarily hot, unless you're like me. You like to chew the rag a lot, do a lot of rag chewing, and do a lot of talking. Well, I have this, and I was having a real fun time when I was testing it out. I got a lot of good signal reports while I was testing it. I had one in my truck, and I was talking to I was hitting all the repeaters in the area. I put a third antenna on my truck on a mag mount just to test to see how it was doing, and then see if it was responding well. And I got a lot of good reports from other hams who were talking to me, and they said the audio was good. I had good signal into the repeater. I wasn't picket fencing. And I haven't put this thing on a scope yet or anything like that. And it does fairly well. Just whatever you do, don't, like I said, don't put it over a heater. Don't leave it in the car if you're gonna, don't put it on top of the dashboard of your car if you're gonna put it in your car, because it will overheat and it will shut down. I had it shut down once because I was forcibly overrunning it to make sure that it wouldn't blow up on me. I had it in a dummy load. The dummy load got hot. It got warm, and I was doing rag chewing into the dummy load, just randomly rambling off words and sentences, and heck, I think I even read a couple of lines from a book into the radio, into the dummy load down here in the shack to see if it would do anything, and it shut off because it overheated. It has, I guess it has a thermal limit. It stopped transmitting and then it shut off like 10 seconds later. So that's actually a good function, but just try not to overload it, because it won't turn on until it's cool, and that could take up to 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and you'll be without communications for that time. So just and it's a good radio for the money. I only paid what was it, $80 for 3 of them, 4 of them, and well, $80 a piece for 3 or 4 of them, and then it was free shipping. I got a pretty good deal on them, So, but it was all right for the time. Would I use one? Like I would use one like on field day, or like in a go kit. But I wouldn't use one because it doesn't do AM. It does not do AM. I found that out. And it, what do you call it? I would put it in my go kit, just to have a light way of communicating with it. You'd be able to communicate 2 meter, 440, and 220, all in the same radio, and it's literally. I mean, here's a tri-band Bofang. This mobile is not much bigger. The microphone is bigger than the is like half the size of the radio. That's the microphone. Has DTMF. You can access the menu on with the remote, and you can. The screen is very, very bright. I don't know if you saw it, but you can change the colors of the screen in the menu. Can change each segment, A, B, C, and D. You can change the colors of each one, so you can tell what's what. And like I said, it does pretty good. And as far as those other videos, sorry about how they sounded. I had my repeater running in the background. It's right over there. I have a GMRS repeater here, and it has a exhaust fan for the final PA tube that's very loud. So I turned it off for this video. So I just wanted to say, on my scale, I'd give it as far as aesthetics and how small it is, how compact, I give it a 9 out of 10, because I mean you could fit this thing in your ashtray. That's how small it is. Take the ashtray out, put this in, and then just close it up. No one will know it's there, other than the antenna on the outside. Trying to find a tri-band antenna that isn't made of forced steel is also another problem, because the antenna that I had on my truck, that I had on a mag mount, it rusted and it pretty much disintegrated. So try and find a good antenna to basically set it up and make it so that you don't have to worry about it. And do not, I repeat, do not buy the foldovers. The mechanism inside, the spring and everything, that rust causes a whole lot of problems. I almost blew up the one that I had in my truck because of the antenna. So just keep it good. And what was that? Oh, the wire. So as far as ease of use, it's as easy to program as a Bofang. Chirp, when I first made the video 2 years ago, Chirp did not, and I repeat, did not work with these radios. You had to put it in for an entirely different radio. I forget what model number it was, but it would not work. And the software that you use to program these on the computer, it's like Microsoft Excel, but you cannot cut and paste. It will not let you. It's like locked. You can't cut and paste, like take from one, copy it, and then put it into another. You can't do that. You have to do everything line by line, slot by slot, everything. And if you mess up on one thing, you have to go and redo the entire line, because when you change one thing, everything else goes to zeros. That I don't understand. But if you program it from the radio, you can't put names in, just like a Bofang. But you can program channels and just set them up, and then go in to the computer and put names to all the channels. So you don't have to worry about that. As far as the transmitting and receiving, transmitting, I give it a 7, because it's low. It's technically considered medium power. It's only like 20 to 25 watts. I saw it in my bird watt meter. It was putting out about anywhere from 20 to 27.5, 28 watts. And that was going up through the bands. 2 meter, 220, 440, GMRS, MERS, below around 220, everything like that. It was a 7 out of 10. 6.5, 7. As far as receiving, I give it a 3. The receiver is good if you have it on one frequency. If you have it on multiple frequencies, or if you put it on scan, you're not going to hear anything. The scan, it's like the squelch for the scan is set to 9 on a 10 scale, and you could be literally on top. I had my repeater right here on, and it IDs every 10 minutes. I had this on, I had it on scan. The repeater ID'd it. I only had my 4 channels on. I had it, as you saw on the display. Ready? As you see on the display, it says my frequency DRR and then 223. D is direct, R is repeater, so when you transmit, it transmits up 5 megahertz. Well, I had it on all my frequency, and it was scanning, just scanning those 4. It did not hear my repeater. My repeater is putting out 50 watts. It didn't hear it at all. So it's good to have if you just want one. Just put it on the screen and just let it sit there. But you got to have 2 of them. One for, well, actually 3. One for VHF, one for UHF, and one for 220. Because you can't hear anything while it's on. So I had, like I said, I had 220 on and all that, and I had my repeater on, and it just didn't hear anything. So like I said, as far as receive goes, I give it a 3. Because it can receive if it's not on scan. If they could adjust the squelch for scan down to maybe 2 or 1 instead of 9 or whatever it's set to, that would make it better, because it's deaf as a stump on scan. On regular modes, I can hit repeaters with this that I couldn't hit before with my 7800. And my 7800 is on a 2 meter 440 antenna. This is on just a business band antenna set for 2 meters. I can hit things on 440 and 2 meters and 220 that I couldn't hit with my other one. So in the end, my opinion is pretty much nothing, but it would all be up to you, the consumer, as to what goes on, as to whether or not you want to buy this particular radio. Other than that, it is a nice radio. It would be a good, like I said, it would be a good radio to have in your go box. That way, like I said, that way you can have all three bands of communication at your fingertips, pretty much. So I'll say 73, and I'll catch you later. Catch you later on down the log. N1CLB saying, keep up the good contact.